Hey Paul, aka Infantryman, it's Omerta, doing your demo review. Uh, I've already watched the majority of your demo, and the thing I noticed right away is just your raw aim. Okay, you have a pretty good sense uh, of the meta, how you're supposed to set up, um, your map knowledge is not bad at all. It's just really your aim and some minor mistakes as far as your setup at B, uh, and a lot of this game is your teammates not really playing correctly. Okay, which we'll go into here in a second. I've already messaged you. I'm going to give you a great warm up to help improve your just raw aim. Okay, and that's going to include a drill map of sorts, which is going to help your reaction time and just help you get comfortable with flicking and just your general mouse movement. Uh, but yeah, other than that, it's not too bad. Okay, you just had a really rough game. There's a few times where your teammates sort of didn't like calm things, and you get killed. But it's just a matchmaking game. You're not going to have the greatest of teammates, and it's a really low ranking uh, game, so you can't really expect much from your teammates. Okay, what we're going to do is try to uh, correct these little mistakes. Okay, Counter Strike is really big on minimizing these little mistakes. Okay, for example, how you're using utility. When you're not peeking off your utility, you're sort of just wasting your smokes and flashes, which we'll go over. Um, your setup at B is a little it's a little off. We'll talk about it. I skipped the pistol. You the pistol round just flew by, and you were on the other side of the map. So we'll start off on the anti-eco round. Okay, your teammate dies mid. Alright, he sees four dudes. Right here. Alright, let me. Right about here. Okay. First, your teammate Geo shouldn't have been just swinging wide on highway and trying to take a fight against four dudes. That's just a horrible idea. Uh, in a perfect world, what should have happened here is as soon as you see uh, it's three dudes and you get one kill, you should have just given it up, right? However, your teammate is here, so you did the correct thing. I'm not sure if you stayed here fighting because of your teammate or because you saw enemies and you just wanted to take a fight. But in this situation, staying with your teammate and trying to support him as much as you can is the best thing you could have done. What you do, and you guys eventually just win this fight, right? Uh, at higher ranks, you don't want to fight uh, four dudes just flying up mid, okay? Especially where you have no cover, right? If you were him, you would be completely dead in uh, a real Counter Strike match, right? And something like a league game or something. So just keep that in mind. Once you get the information, there's four dudes just like flying up mid or something, and this applies to like Dust 2, Mirage, on Cache, uh, Cobble, Overpass, like any map really. You don't have to necessarily take these fights, okay? Especially when you have a rifle and you're going up against pistols. Like just play range, play sort of like an off angle or a really passive angle, and just let them make the mistakes. Let them make the play. Counter-terrorists win. Another thing you could have done is if your teammate was not just swinging out highway, is just jiggle peek the little shack there where you were, right? Just AD, and just jiggle peek mid, okay? And you could have gotten plenty of information by doing that, right? And you wouldn't be at such a risk of dying, right? For example, you could have seen them going into Z. You could have seen them just running up highway, just lurking around mid. And if you don't see anything, that's also a lot of information that's worth a lot, right? If you don't see them flying up mid, that means they're probably trying to split down vent, or they're falling back and going into an A hit or or whatnot. Okay, we'll skip this. Go back to your perspective. Okay. Here, the aggression in A main is not really necessary, but just an ecoing team. Not too bad. Not too bad of a play. Really risky. Unfortunately, it kind of paid off. Okay, minimizing little mistakes. It's really risky rushing into A main like that with a rifle. And minimizing these little mistakes, furthermore, is now you have to rebuy armor and a rifle. Okay, you know that they're going to buy next round, right? Uh, and if you were to lose the following gun round, what you guys do, you're forced into a really broken buy, as you'll see here in a second. Okay, uh, staying alive with a rifle is really important, especially when you're trying to build an economy on the more expensive half, right? If you know that the CT side rifles like the M4 is a lot more expensive than, or not very more expensive, but it's more expensive than an AK. Okay. The incendiary grenade is more expensive than the Molotov. The M4 is more expensive than the AK. So building an economy on CT side is very important. Okay, and you dying with this FAMAS uh, on a round where you know that they're ecoing, right? They don't have rifles. All you have to do is just sit somewhere in a site. And these guys that you killed in A main would have been easy targets for you if you were playing somewhere quad, somewhere fence, and you had a teammate playing maybe like highway or fork or truck even, or even just buying an SMG. Uh, Usually at higher ranks, you'll have like one or two guys with a rifle. Some teams even just all out just five rifle, but they're playing extremely passive with those rifles. They're not risking dropping any rifles because they're so expensive. And building the economy on CT side is crucial. Okay, I'm sure you've had games where you're always ecoing on CT side. Like every other round, you're forced to save, and and that's what we're trying to eliminate is these little mistakes, right? So you can build an economy and you can have a really good CT side. Kind of harped on that, but it's kind of important, right? So you guys survived in two, right? So if you look at your next buy, right? A guy with an SMG, um, which is not the most favorable thing. Michael, what's his money like? Michael's at 3,200. One guy says 700. You're at 700. One guy's at 1150. Then you have two guys with okay money, right? You guys are gonna lose this round. Which is also kind of important, also, right? Um, Here, your teammate is super far away, right? You should have heard that they're planting already, and you're nowhere near a position to use that flashbang or like benefit from that flashbang, right? So what I mean is like if you throw that flashbang right now, what can you peek here? Like who can you try to get an easy kill on? And it's no one. You're not in a very good spot, right? Your teammate's still far away. On a retake situation, you communicating with your teammates to like coordinate a push at the same time is the only way that you're gonna able to win rounds like these. Okay, right here, right? Your teammate is in vent, uh, and you have no idea where these guys are, right? You know at least one guy is in sight planning, right? You have no idea where this guy is and the other dude that's in B halls. Now you have the perfect opportunity to use flashbangs. Okay, if you would have saved your first flashbang, you could have flashed your teammate into checkered to help him out, or even just flash B halls, right? Which probably would have been the easier thing to do, because you don't want to swing too far out wide because you have no idea where these guys are, right? So you could have flashed B halls, and then you could have right hand clicked a flashbang like just right here on the other side of this this frame or this threshold. Okay, and that could have completely blinded this guy. Could have given you a free kill, and you could potentially have killed the planner, and then your teammate could have stalled enough for you to defuse because you have a defuse kit, right? So it's these little mistakes that start to build up and cost you rounds, right? And from the previous round, you have super low money because you have to rebuy a rifle and armor, and you'll see that here come into play in a second. Right now, you have the perfect opportunity. You don't flash, and it's just a slaughter.
Terrorists win.
So next round by, you guys have one guy with an SMG, one guy with no utility with head armor, and your money is completely broken. Like you'll have to eco next round. So this round is super important to win, and you're coming into it with little to no utility. You have two guys with a kit. You have no head armor with $50 remaining with an ump. So if you would have saved yourself that 2200 and the 1000 from the armor, you probably could have had a rifle. Okay? Again, this aggression here works out in your favor. I'm pretty sure you guys won this round. But then again, you're playing really low-level opponents, and we're trying to eliminate these little mistakes. Here, you miss your utility quite a few times throughout this game, which we'll go into here in a second. You're not really using it too effectively. Just like the previous round where you sort of just wasted a flash, and then when you could have used a flash, you didn't. This guy ends up just running away. And you're going to miss a flash here, and you're going to miss a nade. To here, that flash completely missed. There's no reason to sort of like compensate for it and still peek anyway. You could have gotten yourself traded out and put your team in a pretty bad spot because your teammates are on the other side of the map right now.
Throwing a grenade.
So here, there's less than a minute left. You're in sight and your teammates are already pushing through the other side of the map, right? There's no reason for you to play aggressive here, right? They have to come and plant the bomb. Like, they have to play the objective or they're going to lose the round. So all you have to do in a situation like this when you know your teammates are flanking is just delay as long as you can, right? You want to play a really passive angle and just delay for your flanking teammates. Let them make the play here, right? What you could have done is you should have came here, or you could have came here and you could have been jumping up along this like wood plank here, and that would have slid you up high enough to see over it, right? And that would have given you all the information you needed to spot this guy here in A main, right? And as soon as that call comes out, your teammates can just comfortably just flank, right? Again, you didn't get punished for it, but we're just harping on these little mistakes here. Here, you double peek with your teammate, which is a good play. We'll just skip the rest of this. Here, you miss an easy kill. That should have been a kill. Here, just your raw aim. Your teammate dies in B hall, and you smoke it off. You have the bomb. All you gotta do here is just play extremely passive. Just hiding sight, hiding in the headshot angle here, and just staying alive, okay? Occasionally spotting it, okay? You don't have to take the fight. You're not trying to take a fight in this situation. All you're trying to do is just gather info and sort of like watch the bomb. Again, like, make them play the objective, all right? They have to come in, recover the bomb, and plant, right? And all you gotta do is defend, all right? And delay for as long as you can so your teammates can rotate over. This becomes a pretty easy cleanup. He dies in vents. Okay, this is where your setup B is a little off. You missed the smoke. You missed the flash here. Excuse me. And here, it's super early in the round, right? I'm not sure what was being called out on the other side of the map, but it's super early. You have no idea where bomb is, right? Uh, if you're gonna play B, you need to just sit B, right, until the information comes out or all your teammates die on the other side of the map, right? And that's a pretty good sign that they're probably gonna just go to the other site.
Out.
So sit site, man. Like all you gotta do is just play site, play your site.
Throwing fire.
Here again, that was an easy kill. You should have gotten.
Throwing a grenade. Throwing smoke.
You missed the smoke there. Normally you do
Flashbang.
the correct smoke, which is it lands like somewhere along this area. You never want to smoke this off right here, this little like entranceway. You're gonna just, if you do, you're making it super easy for them to sort of like split B on you, right? You have no info as to how many people are in checkered or there's anybody in checkered. They can boost up into vent after making some noise here. There's a lot of plays they can make with this being smoked off for them. So don't smoke that off and make sure you're smoking that properly. Pretty easy cleanup. Not much to say on the rest of that round. We'll skip the rest of this. This guy's actually tricky.
Laying down smoke.
Here, 2 ops mid is probably not the best thing to do. And depending on spawn, you could have peeked A main, you could have peeked into Squeaky, you could have peeked B halls. There's a lot of different spots you could have trying to gotten a pick from. So if you see your teammate mid, just go somewhere else. Or if you have a really good spawn, I mean, there's no reason not to try to go for a quick peek here, like at B halls or even A main.
Throwing a flashbang. Grenade out.
Here, your teammate heard this guy running through checkered and like into sight. I guess he just didn't call it. He was like sitting on the ramp here at heaven. It's not your fault. Just your teammate didn't call it, but he definitely heard this guy running all the way through checkered. We'll just get the rest of this.
Smoke. I'm throwing a flashbang. Throwing flashbang.
Again, the utility. It doesn't make sense as to why you would flash the smoke like right now. So flashing into a smoke is normally a really good play. Uh, but it's super early in the round. You haven't heard anything B halls. Uh, and if they were there behind that smoke, you're not really accomplishing anything. Wasting your utility here. Okay. Now, if you were like to hear them rushing, or you were trying to push through the smoke or something, and then yeah, it's a good play. Potentially could have been a good play. But in a situation like this, you're basically throwing away your flashbang, right? Normally with a flashbang, you want to peek something, right? You want to make a play, or you're flashing to like get away or something, right? But throwing a flashbang here into smoke, uh, you're not really doing anything. It's already smoked off. It's really unlikely that they're gonna uh, push through the smoke, right? If they were, if that's what you're worried about, it being set up here where you are right now is not a good spot to be, right? Normally you'll see guys come up through heaven and they'll bounce the smoke off the wall and then they'll nade down into B halls, or then they'll jump into sight or to headshot, or they'll cross checkered and then they'll have a teammate playing in sight, right? Playing here, you do this a lot. This game is you'll throw the smoke off the wall from like lower here on the ground, and then you'll sort of like sit here in this area. You don't really get punished for it in this game, but it's not a common setup, and that's extremely risky. Go to your perspective. Here you go. You push through. Your teammates are already dead. In that situation, it's just best to save, man. It's a 4v. It was a 4v5 when you died. That's just not worth it. You're probably not gonna win that. Your money is not too bad. What you could have done is try to damage their economy, which would have put them in a really bad spot, dropping 2,700 off of like Fuli or off of like Miner, which did die, and like Mr. Hat would have been like a better play. Okay, you don't always have to try to like win the round, right? You can also damage the economy, which is kind of advanced. It's kind of hard to explain in this game, but essentially you're punishing them for being aggressive or not like exiting correctly, right? And it goes back to economy control. It's like how you died with that FAMAS. What you're doing is you're taking away armor and utility, and you're forcing them to spend money, right? And so if you win the following round, that means that they're gonna have to eco because you dropped 3-4 guns in one round, or when they were trying to exit a site. We'll skip the rest of this. You're again the same setup. You throw the smoke up the wall. It doesn't land in the most ideal place. And again, you do the same flash, and you're not doing anything here. You're sort of just throwing away your utility. If you were to peek behind that flash, that would have been a good play, but you don't. Okay, now imagine if like they don't come here, right? They don't come. They're spread out all across the map, and at like 30-40 seconds left, they start executing a B. Okay, those flashbangs could have come in super handy if they were executing really late in the round. Okay, full blinding someone for like 2 seconds when there's like 30 seconds left in the round, and they still have to get to site and plant and kill you. It could be the deciding factor whether or not you win that round. Okay, so save your utility and like, or at least use it, like, or play off of it. Don't just throw a random flash and not do anything with the flash. You know, peek with the flash, or smoke it, and then just play a really passive angle, and then save your flashbangs for when they actually do execute into the site. Okay. Here, that should have been an easy kill. Again, just your raw aim. Your crosshair placement was probably not the best. You probably could have been not pre-firing, but like sort of like aiming at that angle beforehand. Fast forward this. Same sort of B. Same flash. Again, not doing anything with it. And again, you're in a really bad spot here. Okay, imagine if they would have just pushed through randomly, and you're just caught out here in the open. This is not a really good setup to be in.
Fire in the hole.
Again, that flashbang is, you're not preventing anything. That's not benefiting you or your team at all. Here, the bomb, your teammate has the bomb. You need to, your rotate was a little slow here. Yeah, the bomb is down in A site. You could have just let this mid guy just stay put. If you really want to go for this kill, you know he has an op, so probably like jiggle peeking the corner with your knife out to give you a little bit more like velocity. Increases your chances of living against this hopper. But you sort of just walk out on him, and you give him a lot of time to just line up a shot on you. In that situation, the bomb was down for quite a bit. You could have rotated a little bit faster and just left this guy in mid and try to take the 1v1 with the guy trying to plant. All right. We'll fast forward through this. Here you do a really risky play, and it almost works out in your favor. I'm not sure if you had any more utility. all you had was one flash.
Throwing flashbang.
You had a teammate Heaven too. Dude, right here. As soon as you got that kill, you saw two guys there. Like all you had to do was just sit behind the box and let your teammate support you from Heaven. Um, it's really unlikely that they're just gonna let you just run back into B. You sort of have to expect that they're gonna try to trade you out. They're not gonna just let you run away. So just if you in that situation, again, that's not a really good play. Just to flash in and run in on a gun round like this and throw away a rifle and armor again. Uh, but you did get the kill. Uh, and then in that situation, just hiding behind the box and trying to get support from the Heaven player would have been a really good play. Right? This guy knows you're stuck there, so he probably would have tried to like push up and try to kill you. Um, and your teammate could have just easily just traded out, right? Or just killed him, and you would have been up 3 to 5. But instead, you give them the opportunity to even up the game now, and this puts you in a huge disadvantage, especially on CT side, right? Trade fragging benefits the CT side a lot, or I'm sorry, the T side a lot more than it does the CT side. And if you think about it, here you got the kill, right? Um, and they're able to trade you out, right? And now it's a 4v4, okay? And now your teammates have to cover ground that you normally would have been watching, okay? On a map like Mirage or Dust 2, that probably would have been a huge problem, right? That man advantage given up is really difficult to deal with, especially on a map like Mirage or like Dust 2. Even on cash, now you gotta have you're gonna have one guy at B. You're gonna have maybe two guys mid and one guy at A. Okay? Your sites are extremely weak. Okay, even if you play double up at sites, you're giving them mid control, and now they're able to split on a site super easy. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're making these risky plays. It's usually not worth it. We'll fast forward through this.
Laying down smoke.
Same smoke, we already talked about it.
Deploying
Again,
flashbang.
not a great flash.
Grenade out.
You might want to try playing a little bit further back and try crouching. Crouching and then standing up, jiggle peeking, strafing left and right, crouching and then standing up, jiggle peeking. Try not to be so stationary, and remember to keep your crosshair always at headshot level and like pre-aiming certain spots where they can be. Yeah, in this situation, they couldn't be mid, so all you had to be worried about was the B main entrance right here. Okay, headshot level, jiggle peek, don't stay stationary.
Flashbang. Grenade out. Throwing smoke. Throwing flashbang. Deploying flashbang. Throwing grenade.
Here, breaking that glass does not benefit you at all. Okay, if anything, that's going to help them out. They're going to be able to execute without really giving any signs that they're in B halls. Normally, you want the T's to break that, unless you're trying to do the boost there, where you peek into a sunroom. But yep, don't break that glass. Here again, don't be so stationary when you're holding.
Grenade out.
Okay, being so stationary kind of was a contributing factor in your death. You want to jiggle peek, you want to crouch, you want to jiggle peek, crouch, jump up on the headshot angle, jiggle peek, crouch. Like, don't stay so stationary.
Flashbang.
Again, don't break that glass.
Throwing
There's no
fire.
reason to molly that. Save your utility, use it properly. Okay, for holding B, you really want to use your molly when they're executing, right? When you see smokes, flashes come over, you might want to like molly this right here, like this little entrance. That way you're able to peek from headshot into B main, right? Or molly the entrance here, right, and force them to go through fire and to take some damage, right? And then you could peek, you can peek this angle from default. There's a lot of things you could have done with that molly. Just modeling that angle there when there's so much time left, even if there was no time left, there's no benefit in modeling that, right? Just looking at where it landed and what damage it did, it's just, it tells you that it's just not worth it. You want to use your utility properly. Okay, either you want to use it for like an offensive uh, defense. So, for example, like mollying the B main and then throwing a nade behind it to stop a rush is a great way to use your utility, or to save your utility and use it very defensively, right? Like denying ground. So, for example, like I said, mauling checkered or mauling the cross here.
Fire in the hole.
Back to your perspective. Okay.
Throwing smoke.
Here, this does not benefit you whatsoever. Okay. Get a good kill here. Careful with that smoke, like I mentioned before, and that's the half. Let's get through this. You guys do a B rush, it works out pretty well. Pretty straightforward round. Your aim, your aim's a little off. Aim for the head. Take your time. Move. You can move a lot more than you can with a USP or a P2K when you have a Glock. So just make yourself a really hard target to hit, and just taking your time and trying to get this headshot is what you should have done. Here on this anti-eco, you're sort of lurking in B while your teammates are playing super aggressive on the other side of the map. Okay, normally on a anti-eco, you kind of want to stick together and sort of just hit a site, or you want to just play really passive, spread out, play really passive, and let the ecoing team try to like push into you. Instead, you play really passive and your teammates playing super aggressive. As soon as you saw that your teammates are out mid and they're running into A, that should have been like your cue to stop what you're doing and go help your team. The nade here, again, not a good one. If you want to do anything here, it's probably a flashbang is your best bet. Okay.
Throwing flashbang. Throwing grenade.
We'll let this play out. My cat jumped on my lap. Give me a second. Okay. Here, on a clutch situation where it's a 2vx or whatever the number is, you want to keep your gun out. Okay, you had a smoke grenade, which is not going to help you at all in this situation. Just keeping your gun out here, you probably would have killed this guy. Killed him. And then that would have left you with plenty of health to take the fight onto the other guy. And then here, your teammate should have told you it's planted for A main, so it's out in the open, right? You can see it from like right here. So just jiggle peeking right here, and sort of trying to get a tell to see this guy's on the bomb would have been probably a better play rather than trying to just run at him, which kind of happens here. And then he catches you out in the open, and you end up dying. We'll skip this. The sequel round, you just run up ahead, you get yourself killed. Not much to say. Again, in that situation, just playing together. Normally, you don't want to go out mid with pistols. Of course, you can try to do a like a deagle play out mid, where you'll boost a guy with a deagle, and you'll have another guy like run out mid with a deagle, and you're trying to just get these one digs in mid or in B or something. So normally you try to avoid mid, and you try to like gather up and go like 5-man squeaky or eco out A or something, or rush B.
Laying down smoke.
Uh, Using a pistol mid doesn't really benefit you that much. Just an eco round. Just go for that.
Fire. Grenade out.
Okay, so for your first gun round,
Deploying flashbang smoke.
here you do a really risky just peek straight out mid. I think you die. You end up dying here. In that round, maybe there's a combo you can do where you'll smoke off the wall here, and then you'll throw a flash off that same wall, and you're able to get out mid a little bit more safely. Dry peeking mid like this is super risky. Normally you'll have an op just waiting for you to wide peek mid. So just try to keep that in mind. What you'll do is like you'll run into mid garage from spawn, and you'll bounce the smoke and the flash off the same wall, right? So you'll come up, running up, throw the smoke off, back up, throw the flash, and then you'll just run out mid, and you're able to get out under vents fairly uncontested. So just try not to dry peek mid so much on cash, and you can try to carry that into your other games. If you have utility, try to use them to get yourself in a good spot, or trying to even up the game, make a play. This is a really broad topic. And there's a lot of situations that I can list off.
Smoke.
Here you peek mid, but I think it lands too deep. I'm not sure where that landed. Let's go back and make sure. Why am I not on your perspective? Looks like your teammate's trying to do like a rush mid. Looks like the flash. Okay, it lands in a good spot.
Incendiary out. Throwing flashbang.
You turn around, help your teammates into B, which they don't end up doing.
Laying down smoke.
Here again, just your aim. You lost another
Flashbang.
aim battle.
Deploying flashbang. Throwing fire.
You guys end up forcing here. You decide to force.
Grenade out. Throwing flashbang. Incendiary out. Flashbang. Throwing flashbang.
Opening door there is kind of risky. Works out.
Incendiary.
You would want some sort of like coordination between A main and Squeaky. Here, you lose another gun battle in mid.
Throwing fire. Fire in the hole.
You're able to get out mid. You grab your kill at cat. Now here it's just you have the numbers advantage. All you gotta do is just be patient here, and let your teammates sort of like coordinate like a split, right? Or you could have called, hey, I've got complete mid control. We can split B or we can split A, or there's a lot of things you could have done here. You have complete mid control. You could have lurked from here. You could have gone back and split B. You could have gone back and gone A. You could have lurked out into highway or even gone into Z. There's so many things you could have done here, especially with that you're that complete mid control. Okay. Um, you end up dying. You end up getting dinked, and then you end up dying here in a second.
Incendiary out. Deploying flashbang. Incendiary.
So just keep that in mind. You don't always have to constantly try to make a play. Okay, a play could be you just sitting mid and like catching a rotator while your teammate executes A or B. That's a good play to do. So you don't always have to just take these fights or constantly try to push for information.
Throwing flashbang.
Okay. You know you're low on health. Just sitting behind the white box and just taking your time and trying to catch this rotator, right? Because you know that a normal setup for cash is like a 2-1-2 or a 1-3-1, and you have to rotate through mid or through like CT to truck, right? And trying to catch this guy was probably your best bet since you're so low on health. Again, you dry peek mid and you get punished for it. There's that smoke flash combo you can do at mid. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, I think I can show you tomorrow or whenever you're available next.
Throwing smoke. Deploying
Fast forward through
flashbang.
this. We'll just skip this round actually.
Get this done. Throwing flashbang.
You almost get that kill. That would have been pretty cool.
Incendiary out.
As soon as you failed that and you drop down into A main, just holding the angle there with the deagle to try to get that 1D is your best bet. Normally you want to be like mobile and like jiggle peeking, but with that 1D you're trying to be as still as possible and try to let this guy like walk out on you or something. Not much you can do. It's just a small tip, I guess. The timing is really unfortunate. Again, trying to come out mid dry is a pretty bad idea. You normally want to like smoke something off and combine that with a few flashes so you can get out. Or as soon as you saw that your opera was right next to you and he's like scoped in here, um, you could have tried to gone out mid or walk up close to white box, and you could have lurked out mid late when your team was doing a split. Let's get the rest of this.
Throwing smoke. Throwing grenade. Throwing fire.
There's a play you can do here. I'm not sure if I can show you, but normally when the smoke's not at like the perfect place, you're able to walk up through the smoke and then get on top of the little like box here, like your teammate's doing, and you're able to see through the edge of the smoke and see into like checkered or even like the B main entrance right here, and you're able to get a pretty good kill. So like every time you see the smoke, it doesn't mean like, oh man, I cannot go through that, right? There's some plays you can do with that smoke. Underhanding a flash and going through the smoke too is not such a bad idea if you guys are like absolutely committed to a rush. Here you sort of leave your teammates and they all get traded out. In a situation where the CTs are just pushing through the other side of the map and they're getting so much information, the best thing you can do is just run a default, right? Just leave like 2 guys mid, 1 guy main, 1 guy B, 1 guy squeaky, and just let them try to push and win these battles. Again, it's a matchmaking game. You don't know your teammates. It's near impossible to sort of like coordinate an effective default where you'll have like an ended objective where it will be a default into a B split and everybody knows like who's throwing what and whatnot, but just a little bit of a tip, I guess. Here again, trying to dry peek mid. It's not worked out at all for you or your team. Trying to force that issue again, not a good idea. You have a pistol, right? like I've mentioned before, trying to take this fight mid is not a good idea with the pistol, especially going up against a full bot enemy team. You probably want to go A main or something, or squeaky even, to try to take a close range battle, right? Um, or here, like nothing's peeking you, and you jiggle peek Z and nothing's there, you can seize this opportunity to walk up close white box and try to take a fight with somebody close cat, right? Or highway. And then you can lurk up highway and try to help your teammate in an A split. There's a lot of things you could have done here. Um, just keep in mind, there's a, there's a infinite what if scenarios in Counter Strike. Just this is just one little example of something you could have done in this situation.
Flashbang. Throwing a grenade. Throwing a flashbang.
Almost grabbed that kill.
Incendiary.
Miss it.
Deploying flash.
Fast forward to this. I think you guys win this. There's no way he's gonna lose with. Oh my god. Okay, so your aim's your biggest what's the word I'm looking for? Brain fart. Um, not withdrawal, but it's what's holding you back the most. It's just your aim. Using your utility correctly, okay, and that's going to help you in general. Okay, you don't really get punished for it in this particular game, but that's going to carry on to all your other games, higher rank, and league play eventually when you get into it. Um, so use your utility wisely. Okay, if you're gonna flash something, make sure you're somebody's peeking off that flash, even if it's not you. If you're flashing for a teammate, if you're flashing on a retake, you're counter flashing. You're counter flashing when they're trying to execute on a site. You're setting up properly at B. Okay, if you're gonna throw the smoke through, go up heaven, throw the smoke off the wall, and jump into sight, jump headshot, and be mobile on your setup. Okay, don't play up close. Throw that smoke off the wall, throw a flash, and then stay up close. It's extremely risky and not a good setup. You can play checkered, you can play back checkered, hide behind the box. Even there's a lot of things you can do to play a dynamic B setup. Uh, Jiggle peeking. There's a few instances where you could have jiggle peeked, like into mid, or into to B halls. There's a whole bunch of instances where you could have jiggle peeked, stayed mobile, and you could have gotten a kill. Making sure that you smoke like in line with the box almost. You want to leave a gap to where you can see people crossing into checkered. Um, don't smoke that entrance way off. Make sure it's a deep smoke and you're able to see people crossing. Grouping with your team on an anti-eco, and playing with the weapon you have, like your weapon's advanced, like strength. Okay, if you have a pistol, you probably don't want to take a long aim dual battle in mid with a pistol. Okay, you want to probably try to get up close somewhere like A main, B hall, squeaky, and try to get a close range battle with a pistol. That's all I really have for you, man. I'm going to give you the warm up here in a second. And if you have any questions about anything we've gone over, please feel free to ask me. Okay, anytime, just send me a message or get in touch with me via like gamers or through like YouTube, anything, man. Just let me know. All right, hope this helps. Good luck.